March, a time of transition and tradition here in the United States. It's also a time to analyze how your products have performed over the first quarter of the year and a time to make some changes. These three products that we're about to take a look at may be the change that you're looking for to get your Amazon store back on the right track for the second quarter this year. Let's go. Before we begin though, I want to take a second just to share an important message about this video series. Now, this video series has never been intended to or to be used as investment advice. If 1% of the 10,000 people that typically watch these videos end up selling one of the following products, then there will be over 100 new sellers joining the market at relatively the same time. That's not a good thing. I create these videos to educate you on my process of how I go about finding new products for the up and coming month. My goal from these videos is to educate you on how I do it so you can take that information and apply it to your own product research method and your own set of criteria in order to find a new product. Remember, returns are never guaranteed with any form of investment, which includes Amazon FBA. So we're going to be starting out with the innovative product of the month, or one that shows out of the box thinking. It is typically a product that has low competition, making your entry into the market less stressful. These tend to perform very well over the long term, but there is a little bit more risk incorporated into these. This month we'll be taking a look at the snack spinner for toddlers. All right, the snack spinner for toddlers. So before we take a look at the product itself or even the data, I just want to take a second and to remind everyone that if you are selling products like toys or this type of product for children or toddlers, mainly under the ages of 12 or younger, here in the United States, you're going to provide them with Amazon with a children's product certificate, a CPC, or a safety data sheet, SDS. That just really proves that your product is safe to be handled and used by toddlers and anyone under the age of 12. Now, in order to obtain that, you do have to send your product for lab testing if your supplier hasn't already done it. So always check with your supplier, see if they have these certificates on hand and they can claim that their product is safe to be used. All right, so let's take a quick look at the main listing page here for this niche, just so you can get an understanding of what this product looks like. Now, from my experience, I've noticed that there's one main competitor and they're already sponsored right here. This is the Go-Bee brand. I've actually seen this at Sam's Club and Costco and wholesale retail stores here in the United States. There are some other brands like this Hita baby food storage container. It's really just this modular way of containing food for children. You can put snacks in there. So it's very simple, and what I've noticed is this circular design, there aren't too many of them here on Amazon, so that provides a good opportunity for anyone as a new seller joining this first listing page and overall niche. So looking at the data right away before we get to the search volume chart, I really love to see that the average monthly units sold is well above 1,000 to 1,500. It's at 3,142 over the past month. A very healthy monthly price and very high search volume at 2,282. Trends are great, competition's great, and a very high niche score of a 9 out of 10. All right, so let's get to the interesting stuff down here. If you take a look at the historical search volume for the past 2 years, we can see that there really wasn't any demand throughout 2021. We began to see that increase in demand throughout 2022, and then here at the end of 2022 to 2023, we're really seeing a large amount of interest joining this niche. Now, I always say in my videos, this is what you look for in a long-term private label product, is this long-term increasing and consistent trend in demand. Now, it would be even better if we saw more of a rise throughout 2021 and more of a rise throughout 2022, a more gradual rise, but this is exactly what I'm looking for, is just this slow trend going forward, because this at least gives you some assurance that throughout 2023 and into 2024, you should continue seeing these upward trends in overall demand. And one other thing I want to point out on this page, and this isn't something I typically show in my videos, but it's something I usually take a look at for my own business, and that's the average price history. So throughout 2021, throughout an entire 2022, we saw this very, very gradual decline in price from about $19 to $15. And then what we see is as that demand increases, we're really seeing the product price go up to close to $32 right now. Now, what does this tell us other than just, now we're seeing a higher sales price? This also tells us that over the past 4 to 5 months from November up until this point in time, we have been seeing an increase in demand and we haven't seen enough competition to drive those prices down. So this tells me that since we're seeing an increase in demand and an increase in overall sales history price, that the competition is not a factor, a large enough factor to be driving those costs down. Now, if this was the inverse and we saw the costs coming down, the average sales price, we can assume that there's either less demand at this point in time or there's a lot more competition in that market, in that niche that's driving those costs down. So what I'm trying to say is that this is a very good sign showing you that there is room for new sellers to enter this market. All right, so now is the difficult part, and that's actually finding this product, one to source. To be honest, I've never had this much of a difficulty in finding a product on Alibaba and a supplier to manufacture this product. I did find this one, but I'm not crazy about the design and overall, visual appeal of this. It's similar to those ones that you just saw, but I was looking for one that is at least transparent around the edges, so you can see what type of food is actually inside the container. Now, do not let this discourage you. You could look at domestic suppliers here in the United States, do more of a thorough search than I did to try to find a very similar type of product. But just for our revenue calculator and estimating our margins, we will go ahead with this $1.15 unit cost. Okay, so let's estimate our margins. Now, the average monthly unit price is, as we recall from the data set, it's about $32.54. However, I do not think with the product quality for that product we just took a look at, and also a new brand entering the market, I don't think we could price ours quite that high. Now, from what I'm seeing on the first listing page for a 5 to 6 compartment product, you're looking at close to $30 for this existing brand. Now, what I would do personally is I'd enter the market at a lower price point, at least 25% below that, which is much more than what I have here. So I had these priced at $19.99. Let's say we order 200 units or so with a $1.15 unit cost plus an additional $1 for shipping costs per unit to get to Amazon. As you can see, our net margin is very healthy at 45.27%, and with an estimated sales per month of 200, we would be looking at about $1,800 in net profit. All right, so on to our next product, which is our recession-proof product, or one that is going to be an essential item for households. This month, that is the beginner crochet kit for adults. So you're probably thinking, crochet kits, that does not sound interesting or fun at all. And I think this just goes to show that, as an Amazon seller, we're not looking for those fun, exciting items that we want to purchase. We should be neutral in our selling experience and what we purchase for our stores and what we ultimately private label, because, we should really base everything on the data that we're seeing and the problem that we're solving for the customer. So this is a crochet kit for adults. There are a lot of variations, as you can see here. Some show you how to actually design and build out a bunch of different flowers, and we see some that are just more general. They provide some instructions, a bunch of yarn, and just teach you how to crochet based on what you want to create. So we'll get into the data here, and I want to start out actually with Google Trends. Google Trends is a free resource you can use to see what people are typing into Google search engines, ultimately to give you an idea of a broader idea of what people are searching for and the interest that's behind them. So another reason why I like this product before we even look at the Jungle Scout data is that if you just type in crochet, and for the past 5 years in the United States, we've seen a fairly steady increase over the past 2 years in interest. We've seen the largest amount of interest over the holiday season this past year over the past 5 years, if that makes sense. But if we go to another step further and we type in crochet kit, in particular people looking for these kits, we see a dramatic spike near the third quarter of 2022 and it peaking at the end of last year. Now that demand has come down a little bit over the past couple of weeks, but this is at least just a good sign and a good feeling that, hey, we are seeing more interest in this general category of products. So when we jump over the Jungle Scout data, we should see a similar trend, maybe more, maybe a little less when it comes to search volume and overall interest, but let's take a look at it. So average monthly units sold, it's not quite what I want it to be in that 1,000 to 1,500 range. It's about 900 units sold right now, so it's right on the verge of there. Something just to always consider and to understand you're adding more risk if there's less average monthly units sold, meaning your opportunity to be selling a lot of those products per month and a lot of units isn't going to be as great compared to other ones. Monthly search volume is ideal, above 4,000. Great search trends, very low competition, and a niche score of an 8 out of 10. Now, what we always do, we take a look at the search volume trend over the past 1 to 2 years. This is the 2-year chart, and it's very similar to the previous product we just took a look at. We did not see really minimal demand throughout 2021. We saw a little bit of increase throughout 2022, but near the end of last year, and especially right now during January and February and into March, we've been seeing a lot of interest for this type of product. A good steady increase over the long term. Okay, now on to Alibaba to source this product and to find a supplier. I found one very quickly here that's selling for about $6.60 if you order more than 200 units. Now, what I like about this product is that it has it is a design for the actual bag that the adult or whoever the consumer would be that would be purchasing this. You can get creative with that design. I'm sure that this supplier can customize this bag for a particular interest of yours and a design of your choosing. So get creative with that. And as always, you will have to meet the MOQ for that if you want to customize. But I really recommend doing that if you're going to private label and to stand out within your market. Now, before we get to the revenue calculator, if we take a quick look at one of these larger sets, we're seeing $34.99, that's the same one, $30.96, and then we're seeing $34.99, another one. So even though the average monthly price is about $25 to $26, a lot of these smaller ones that teach you how to create just one thing, and they only provide enough yarn and material for that one specific type of item, they are significantly less in price, therefore bringing that overall average price down. So I'd say for this type of product, if I were to sell these that come in a complete package with a lot of yarn, I think we could price it close to that $30 to $34 range. So even if we price these at $29.99, which is very competitive compared to our competitors, and a cost of goods sold of $6.60 for the unit rate and $1.20 per unit for the shipping to Amazon, we're about a 30% margin, which isn't great. It doesn't meet my criteria of a 35% or higher margin, but it's something that we could work with over the long term. Like I said, if you look at some of these products, they're selling for $34.99, $34.99, $30.96, and it was actually priced at $34.99. So if we were to, over time, once we receive a dozen or so 5-star reviews, we can gain more credibility in this niche, and we can price them a little bit higher. So at that $34.99, which is what the highest we're seeing, we give you a net margin at 37.68%. Lastly is our niche or low competition product. For March, that is the soda organizer for refrigerator. Okay, and on to our last product, which is our niche and low competition product. This is the soda organizer for refrigerator. Now, I want you to take a quick look at these products and the similarities that you're seeing. I'm just going to give you a second to look at these. Not a whole lot of variation, right? That's what I noticed too. You have this design, you have the clear and transparent design, and then you have kind of like the metal wire designs. Those are the 3 most common ones, and if you want to just blend in with the crowd, by all means go ahead, but you're going to have limited success with that. So when we go through this process, after we take a look at the data and find a product, my goal is always to find a way to stand out, to provide a better solution to the problem that these customers have with organizing these cans, and to make it more appealing and an overall better experience. So let's take a look at the data. And this one's a pretty exciting one because we have such a high monthly search volume, close to 10,000 monthly searches. Average monthly units sold is about 2,500. Good trends. We're seeing a much larger increase over the 30-day, but we still have very low competition and a niche score of a 9 out of 10. So this one's fairly similar to the last two, but there are some minute differences. Throughout 2021, we saw an increase up until the summer months and then decline into the end of the year. And a similar trend for 2022. We see that increase up until the summer. Maybe people are more active during the summer and more health conscious. I'm not sure. They're drinking less soda and not looking to organize things as much. But we're seeing that same trend now. We're seeing a significant increase over the beginning of the year throughout January and into February. So that may be a predictor that this demand will carry forward and reach some higher levels of demand up until July, August, and then we may see that decrease in demand as well. Doesn't make it a bad product, doesn't make it a great product, but it's something just to keep an eye out for. Okay, and finding a product, like I mentioned, I'm looking for a product that provides a better solution and is also much different than what's on the market now. So I've quickly found these that I think provide a One, better solution because they're individual. There's less chance of it rolling out, as you saw with some of the designs. And I just think this is more appealing of a product. They're stackable, so you can really limit the amount of footprint that you're putting in your refrigerator to store these. And overall, they're just a different product on the market. So I like these over any other design that I came across. And there's a very competitive unit price of about 99 cents. And they also had the shipping on here too. So we're looking at about, I'll do the math real quick so you can see, $409.30 divided by 200 pieces. Now that would be if we're selling in single unit sets. That gives us a cost of goods sold of $2.05. Okay, so let's finish this up with our net margin, and let's get a little creative with this and see how we can maximize our margin and minimize our fulfillment cost using Amazon FBA. So at $14.99 is what I think would be competitive just for one single unit. Put some of these in here. And our cost of goods sold of $2.05, which we just calculated, we'd be looking at about a 28% net margin. So, that's okay, but let's see if we can get more creative. Now, what if we were to sell these in 4-packs? Right now, they're just coming in individual units. What if we sold all 4 color variations into one set at Amazon? So we can do the math quickly here. I'm just going to multiply this by 4 to give us our complete cost. So now we have 800 units in 4-piece sets. So there's really still 200 Amazon sellable units. So that gives us $751. For some reason, shipping just dramatically went down. So $751.58 divided by 800 now. So now our unit cost, including shipping, is 93 cents. We got a better unit rate. We have less charges for shipping because it's more efficient for the supplier. And now we went from $2.05 to one single unit down to 94 cents. So let's go back here. We'll take that 94 cents. And remember, we have to multiply by 2 because that's for one single piece. $3.76. So you do that, type in 800 here, and you look at your net margin and you say, what happened? 16.66%. It should have went up, right? Well, the thing is we didn't increase our sales price. So now it becomes a little bit more tricky because we can't just multiply our sales price by 4. Otherwise, there's not an incentive for a customer to purchase more than one single piece from us. So what I would do is I'd go to the niche in the first listing page. I'd see what they're competitively listed for a similar type of variation. It's kind of difficult since this is a novel product and one that's not commonly sold on here. But you can see things can range into the $30 range, $43.99, $34.99, $34.87. So I see a lot of, what's competitive for some of these other larger products is in that $30 range, closer to $34. So even if we did $34.99, look at our net margin now, 55.72%. Increase from 29% the whole way to 55.72% if we were able to go ahead, sell these as sets of 4. I just wanted to share that with you because it can really save you a lot of money if you can strategize that. Now, one last thing before you guys head out, I just want to mention that this doesn't mean to go ahead and sell in 12-piece or maybe 34-piece sets or something because, you have to think about what the customer is practically and realistically going to use. Are they going to use 32 of these soda storage containers? I don't think so. I'd say 4 is probably the max, maybe 5 or 6. It's subjective, but always keep that in mind. Don't just try to add as many as you can to your sets. That way you can maximize your net margin. Before you move on to the next video, make sure you check out my best products to sell in 2023 overall. I think this is a great way for you to understand how I look at consumer trend reports and GWI data to get a better perspective on what's going to be trending for the upcoming year.